Hi, Peter again from the Romford Film Festival team. I'm here to talk about Losing Grace with two of our filmmakers. I've got Athena,
Hi.
who is the writer and co-producer and director.
Yes.
And Erik Moore,
Yep.
who is the editor.
And sound editor.
And sound editor. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me. We've just seen the film here at the festival on the big screen. Is it the first time you've seen it on a big screen?
It is.
Yes. How was that experience for you?
Well, it was really exciting because we've been, obviously working on it during lockdown. So that was, via Zoom a lot of the time. So watching it on a little screen. We were lucky to get into the studio a couple of times, weren't we? At 01 to see it on a bigger screen, but to actually see it in a cinema was amazing. I think that's when you really see the film that you've made, and it's when the film comes alive because there's an audience other than you looking at it for, I mean, you're always going to look at it for things gone wrong, but try not to do that and just sort of seeing it for what it was and everyone's efforts. So yeah, it was lovely.
And we were saying earlier that the sound in the festival, in that theatre, considering it's not, none of them are surround sound, they're just stereo, was really good for a festival. Quite often you get really disappointed with the sound quality, not just of the film but of the system, but this sounded great to me.
Yeah, and I mean the quality of projection, brilliant.
It was good.
So thank
Very
you.
good. Yes.
Very welcome. So Athena, you wrote the film.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the premise of the film?
So the premise of the film really, so the idea was developed with Liz, who plays the mom, Louise, in the film. And so it was the idea, we're really starting off about the relationship between mother and daughter and to what extent would a mum go to keep her daughter safe. Yeah. And very early on in that process, it became about sort of domestic abuse. Yeah. What would, we're asking the question and probing, what makes a woman run away with her child? What can be that circumstance? And we came across the environment of domestic violence. And when we looked into that, we started to see that this was quite a lot of women's real story. So a lot of women were coming back to us because we put the film out on social media platforms, on Facebook, and we used that as a way of sort of talking about the project. We started to engage with women who'd experienced that, who had no other recourse but to run away with their child. And of course, if you do that, you're breaking the law. And so that really helped to inform and nuance the story. But we wanted to look at when women do that, they may come across as mad, and looked at sort of representations of women and madness in that extreme sense of the circumstance.
So we heard you discussing it downstairs, that the opening of the film is not quite clear, kind of, has she just kidnapped her own child? It's left kind of, you don't know until a little while in. Yeah,
I mean, because the courts will have to make that decision, and quite often they don't know. It's one person's word against another, and I think the telling lines at the end of who's going to believe you is true. I mean, especially in our backstory, the father was like a doctor, or so he was a very sort of respectable profession, and she was just a mom. So, how would her story stand up? And it's a question.
How long did it take to write the script?
It didn't take us long to write. We sort of, wrote the first version of the script, which was different. We hadn't quite got into domestic abuse yet. We wrote together with Liz, and then we did about 3 or 4 drafts. And then I took it over and did about 3 drafts. And then we, quite early on, like a year before we shot, we had the main story, and then it was just tweaking. And you're always tweaking, like even in the edit, we rewrote it. So you're always writing when you're making a film.
I was going to ask, when did you come on board?
I came on board because originally it was an all-woman film. It was supposed to be. The idea was that there were going to be
cast and crew.
Cast and crew was all going to be all women, but I think you had some issues.
Yeah, no, I did
filling some of the roles.
Our editor, who we had on board, I mean, we were working within a budget, and she couldn't do it the budget that we had. And so we then went we went, right, okay, well, who do we trust to work with us and understands the sensibility of this? And so, we reached out to Erik.
I've worked with Liz before and other things. I've known her for a while.
and just had the right sensibilities really for the project, and I think that was important as well. Because we also knew that it wasn't, like everybody knows, I think, and it doesn't matter whether it's a short film or a feature film, you're finding the film in the edit. Once you've cut it together according to the script that you have, that's not your film. And so you need someone who has that patience to work on that. And it's not like you're working on it ongoing, but letting it rest as well.
Oh, it's a time-consuming thing. It really is. Yeah.
It has. I mean, we were tweaking it up until a couple of months ago, weren't we?
Yeah, little things, and then getting feedback, and you were getting feedback from other editors and friends, and I was getting feedback from colleagues and friends.
Right.
So. But I found it interesting because I'm actually a victim of domestic violence myself from the other side. So I think we had conversations about this. Although it's not just a kind of a woman. Obviously, mainly it is women. There's also, I've got male friends who've suffered at the hands of their partner. It's just something in life, really. So it was quite interesting, to work on that.
How long did it take to edit, and what was your biggest challenge?
How long did it take to edit? A couple of months?
Well, we started in March the 3rd.
Yeah, okay.
Week before lockdown. I only know that because it was literally the week before we locked out. Yeah, before lockdown, the last trip I did. But you didn't start working on it until May because your mum was ill and all sorts of things were going on.
Well, my mum died actually. So
you were going through grief at that time. Kind of May, June you started on it. We had a cut in the summer.
I think the first cut was about 24 minutes long or something.
Yeah, and we were like.
There was whole bits in there that just, you know what it's like, there's bits that kind of, you just think, well, you don't really need that to tell the story.
And there was a lot we didn't need.
No, I think we did quite well with it. I think now when I watched it now, after not seeing it for a while, it seemed to me to be very concise, which I was quite pleased with. There was no flab.
No, there wasn't. It was lean.
I think it was very lean and just nicely so. And there were bits that were long, I'm a fan of long shots, long. I quite like Taiwanese cinema, and when they hold a shot for ages.
So am I. Quite the long take.
Yeah, I think we worked really well together as a team. I think because we didn't ever argue about anything. There was nothing where that's rubbish.
Just the logistics of editing remotely and during a pandemic. That sounded like your biggest challenge.
And there were technical things like. The sound of the guy fell over with a Steadicam. I wasn't on set.
Oh right.
He fell over.
No, that's shot when they're running through the fields. So we sourced this ground and made sure it was safe, and for potholes and rabbit holes and all sorts of things. We walked up and down it, and then it was like on the first or second take, he's like running, and then you just watch him like slow motion with a £50,000 lens attached to this £100,000 camera, and him go down, and he was probably worth more. And it was slow motion because I thought, oh my God, that's it. That's the end of the film because he's probably broken his leg. Fortunately, everything was fine. I think we just got away.
It made a horrible noise after that. The Steadicam, this kind of click, click,
yeah, exactly.
So sometimes it worked because it sounded like the chair creaking. But if you watch the film and you know that the click, click, click noises of the Steadicam, it's weird.
Well, so we, it was, but it was a great.
That's why you need a sound editor.
Yeah, well, it was really interesting. I mean, that was one of the things of working with Erik. It was just to kind of bring all the posts together, and I mean, Erik, is first a sound editor and has done a lot of editing on documentaries, but we were sort of going, actually let's look at the whole thing because sound is so important in telling the story.
Very important in every film.
I know, and so
criminally
often
underrated, I think, sound.
I know. I mean, tell that to my students.
Something bad sound ruins every film.
Oh, and usually if there's a problem in an edit, it's going to be the sound a lot of the time. It's, pictures usually everyone takes real care in getting a picture. Sounds like but I've done a lot of location audio for drama as well, and they go, oh God, there's a problem with the sound. Get on with it. Can't we're losing time. You get problem with the camera. Okay, everyone take 20 minutes. Problem with the camera. Everyone have a break. So Very strange.
So this film's done very well on the festival circuit, I understand.
It's done really well.
Yeah, tell us about some of the journey that...
So we've knocked up a few awards, about 7. We won the Audience Award at the London Independent Film Festival.
Amazing.
And a lot of... So festivals that, you know, give awards before the screenings. So the Arizona Snow Festival, I'm saying it wrong, I'm a bit dyslexic. But that's screening in October, and it's just got into the LA International Short Film Festival, which is BAFTA Oscar qualifying, so we're really excited about that and in competition. And yeah, it's done really well. Like, you know, you never know when you make a film how it's going to land, and you know, any festival that says yes is an amazing achievement, because there's so much competition, and you know, it's never really a reflection of the film. It's just like, does it align with where we are as a festival and where it goes, and I think to try and find its audience as well is really important, because that's when you know that's what film is. It's for an audience, isn't it?
Exactly right. Final question, what are you both working on next? What's the next project?
So I have just wrapped on a second short, Daughter, which is just beginning its festival admissions. So we're just starting to apply with that one. So that's a short film that we're going to hope to take round. And I've got a feature film that I'm developing with Liz, which we're writing together. And another feature which I'm seeking finance for as well. And a couple of other shorts that I've got that I'm going to go and try and push out there, because that means just you're working and not waiting for the feature to happen, because I just love being behind the camera.
Keep busy.
Yeah.
Eric?
And I'm working on a documentary about a sculpture by a black artist called Tam Joseph that he's been working on for 2 years now, sending me every day footage from his phone on how this sculpture is a very organic sculpture, how it's progressing, and it goes forward, it goes back. Plus I'm writing the music for it, because I write music, so it's a kind of musical thing as well, but it's very much an art piece. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think. And there's going to be an exhibition in November at the Barbican Arts Trust, and that will be the first time I've ever actually screened an art piece of my own.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting.
Exciting. How are you?
Really good.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having
So
us.
you've just seen the film.
Yes.
What did you think on the big screen?
Oh, it's the first time we've seen it in a real live cinema. It's so exciting, and yeah, it was nice, wasn't it?
Is it terrifying seeing yourself, Tabatha?
Yes, it's personally the first time I've seen myself on
the screen.
On the screen.
Wow. Oh, must be quite something.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Yeah, great. So Liz, you're the co-producer as well on this.
Yes.
When did you first come across the project? Or
Well, actually, the project originally, it was something I wanted to explore about looking at how abuse can happen through circumstance. Not that people are bad, but that, you know, if you're pushed into a corner and things can happen. And actually, originally was looking at cults, and I'd written a script and I'd done this sort of stuff, and anyway had approached Athena about it, and she was going to direct it. And as we started working on it, it was like all these different things started happening, and we wrote this script, and we wrote this you know, this whole thing. And as we were kind of putting feelers out, we started seeing more and more about how victims of abuse are not being believed, not being listened to. And for example, like a woman who says, but my partner's abusing my child, suddenly having their children taken off them. And there was all these women that were going, if I'd known what was going to happen, I would have stayed with him, because at least I could have protected them. Yeah. And we were like, okay, well this can't be right, you know. So we started digging, and it was shocking, because not only in this country, it's happening right around the world. And suddenly the story, it was just there. It was like, we needed to tell this story, because the biggest thing that seems to happen is that women, and this has gone for centuries, all a bit hysterical. Yep. And the problem is with narcissists, they come across as so lovely and charming and calm. And if you're being abused as well, you do come across as, you know, a bit hysterical, or a bit all over the place, and maybe not safe, or, you know, and it's really easy to push someone into a point where that can come up. And it was, oh my God, some of the stories, I mean, losing Grace is dampened right down to some of the stuff. I mean, there is things that kept me awake at night, keep me awake at night. It's like, how is this happening? And so anyway, Athena like went, right, bam, whacked together a script from this. Whacked together, make that sound really simple.
Just like that,
yeah, just like that. But no, it was, we'd written this whole massive other thing that had gone sort of along the way, and then suddenly we just went, no, this is the story. Yeah. And she's a brilliant writer, and she put this together, and we were so invested in this story. It was just like, I mean, I can't begin to tell you the people that have met that I'm just in awe of how they get up every day and put a smile on their face and are there doing what they do, because it's horrendous. I mean, you've got police and social services helping these women to get away from these shocking, violent relationships. And then it goes to family court, and one person in a closed court, it's not even a jury, goes, nah, you've got to hand your child over. And I'm a parent. If I had to hand my child to someone that I knew was going to abuse her, I mean, I would run. There's no way. But the law says you can't do that. And if I did that and got caught, she would be taken away from me and given to him anyway. So this has got to stop. And I'm a massive believer in the power of film. You know, the reason we didn't do this as a documentary as well is because I think sometimes you can switch off a little bit with the documentary. Not, that sounds bad, not switch off, but sometimes you go, well, that wouldn't happen to me. But actually what we wanted to do, we wanted to play with the ambiguity of this, because through the film you don't really know, not till the end, without giving everything away. But it is, and you know, when someone is acting in a way that does seem not quite normal, you do question their actions. But what would you do to protect your child?
Good question. So as you say, you are mother and daughter.
Yeah.
How did you find working together on set? It's a really interesting dynamic, and playing obviously mother and daughter on screen as well.
I'll let you answer and then I'll answer.
What was it like working with your mum on set?
I really enjoyed it. I think it also made the situation of what the film's about far more real as well, because acting with my mum, you know, but I really enjoyed the experience.
Oh, it was, do you know, Tabatha, she's been interested in acting for ages, and I'm always kind of like, yeah, you know, it's, you know, wait and see and all of that. And she started doing Lambda a few years ago and has not had under a distinction. It was just like, okay, all right, she's really good.
Might have something here.
And anyway, we wanted, when we were crowdfunding, we wanted to shoot a crowdfunding video, and we got Tabatha to come in, and she was just incredible. It was just this scene, and she took direction. We believed her. It was completely, you know, her performance was so incredible, and it just made sense. And honestly, it was wonderful being together on set. And the thing that was really nice, because obviously it's quite heavy material, it was really nice that when we wrapped for the day, we were together, and you know, things could go back to normal, which was also brought home the reality of what it's like for people that are going through this, and it doesn't go back to normal.
No, you're the lucky ones.
But just telling ourselves that this was real for that week of shooting. I mean, I honestly, I look at myself and then I think I look about 10 years older. It was so, I mean, there's this photo, I remember looking at this photo where I, like, in between set, and I'm just stood there thinking, and I was just like, wow, okay. So that's why I'm in awe of these people who are going through it and are getting on each day and doing what they're doing.
So you want to act again, Tabatha?
Yes.
Have you got anything in mind that you want to do? I don't know, is it something that your mum's producing or something? I don't know. Is there anything, have you had discussions, or what's the next step?
Well, actually, we're looking to get an agent for Tabatha,
Okay.
and and her do some work, because I mean she's certainly shown that she can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that would be really nice. So if anyone out there.
Have you got an acting background yourself?
Well, yes, I've been working as an actor for the past few years, and it was something I always wanted to do. And kind of like, you know, through my life I'd always wanted to do that, and things always kept cropping up that kept putting me back on that path. But it was actually after I had Tabatha that I went, oh my God, I've always talked about this is my dream and I want to do.
Yeah.
And I've got my little girl now, and if I don't follow my dreams or do what I'm supposed to do, she's not going to. So she's the one that inspired me and motivated me to do it. So Tabatha grew up with me training, with her being dragged around to classes, and being sort of plonked in the corner of dance classes and screenings, and and watching all sorts of method and
Must
stuff
have picked
like
up
that.
a lot.
It
Without
definitely
realising.
inspired me to become an actor too.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you in the future, both of you. I've got one last question.
Yes.
Each of you, who's your favourite actor or actress? Liz, you wanna go first?
Oh God, right. I'm a Libran. We might be here all day with me trying to work this out. I mean, it's, you know, one of the sort of the biggest greats is Meryl Streep. I mean, that woman, oh my God, what she does is just like... But, there's so many incredible actors out there who just watch and just go like, and my mind's gone completely blank because there's so many that I could think of. But yeah, I think Meryl Streep is someone who, you know, growing up, I saw a lot of things with her in and was just like, okay, wow, you know, really believe.
So many films, isn't there?
Oh, isn't there? Yeah.
Mine's David Tennant.
David Tennant.
Yes.
Okay. What do you like so much about David Tennant?
Well, he's in my favourite series, which is Doctor Who.
Okay.
He's in
Broadchurch, yeah.
Broadchurch. Is it Deadwater Fell?
Oh my God, that amazing one that he did. Yeah, I can't remember. Is it Deadwater Fell in Scotland? About coercive control. And it's incredible.
So good.
Yeah.
I also like Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, she's
excellent. I hope you get to work with them both.
Oh, yes.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for joining me, Liz
thank
and Tabatha.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.